أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على الأشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا نبينا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. A very welcome everybody from wherever you're joining us, inshallah. I am here in the famous CEO cast set. I've been watching and following the podcast for probably 2.5 years, and it's surreal to actually be here. Alhamdulillah. Last time we were together properly was in Mecca, having a burger after our Umrah together.
Yeah. Oh no, you already done your Umrah. We joined you after.
Subhanallah,
yeah.
Subhanallah. And this is the next. Well, and since then, this is the first time sitting together again.
Yeah, that's it. We've both been busy, alhamdulillah. And the fact that we're only around the corner from each other as well.
And we're very local to each other. So, but that's you obviously got a busy schedule and travels, and you just had an incredible mastermind in Dubai.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
We're gonna get straight into it, guys. First and foremost, I want to ask you all, where are you joining from today? Because we know we have a very, very international audience and community.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. Let's see, where are you guys all joining from? Let me know.
First of all,
We've got Cape Town,
London.
we've got London,
Ghana,
Glasgow, mashallah. This is the beauty, bro, of
you know
what we're able to do. We've got Brother Sultan Kareem in the house, a good friend, alhamdulillah, which
Tanzania. Mashallah, you've got audience all over, you know.
It's a true blessing, man. It's a true blessing that through the power of social media and the internet, we're able to connect with so many brothers and sisters scattered all over the world.
Alhamdulillah.
And what we're going to do today, inshallah, is try to benefit these brothers and sisters all over the world by sharing some gems. And the gems are going to come from the fact that over the last 4 years, almost 5 years, you've been sitting and interviewing successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And that is something that very few people can say. Like, I love reading books and watching podcasts because it allows me to tap into that knowledge. But I can't say that I have sat down with 200 successful businessmen and businesswomen. So that is truly, an incredible thing that you have, and a blessing and a treasure. So today I just wanted to sit with you and basically pick your brains on having sat down with so many successful entrepreneurs, some millionaires. I know you sat down with a couple of billionaires as well.
Yep.
What's been the sort of let's start with this. What's been the most interesting thing that a lot of them have in common?
When you say interesting thing, what are we talking about? Characteristic, or are we talking about just the way
something that you notice that they all have in common, or majority of them have in common?
I would have to use one word and say obsession. Obsession with what their craft is or whatever their mission is, and being obsessed with it to the point where it's got them to be, multi-millionaires or billionaires for that matter.
Wow, okay. So that is a common trait, that they are quite obsessive with their goals or with whatever it is that they're creating. Interesting. And now that I think about it, if I think about some of the people in my network who I look up to, there is an element of obsessiveness and just like they're willing to do whatever it takes.
You tell me, what would you say is the traits? Because you've met a lot of people as well.
Don't try and switch this on me, bro. Right now. Is the interviewer coming out?
You tell me honestly, speak like, what would you say? I've said obsession. What would you say? One word.
I wouldn't have said obsession, but it would be something like hunger and drive.
Yeah.
And for different people, it comes for different reasons. Some people, it's like they have a chip on the shoulder. Some people, it's just like, I never want to be broke ever again. Some people are driven by something big. I want to make a change in the world, like Squib.
Let us, as we're saying this as well, let us know in the chat what you think is a common trait you see of entrepreneurs that makes them successful.
Yeah. Common trait, that's So that sort of burning desire, which I read about in my first ever self-development book that I bought as a 15-year-old, Think and Grow Rich.
Oh gosh, typical.
Yeah, I bought that in Waterstones with my own money. It was the first ever book I ever bought with my own money at age 15.
Said highly focused. That's a great one.
I think it goes down to a why.
Yeah,
the why
is just so strong that they've got a purpose.
Yeah, I even done a video the other day for my personal channel of breaking down goals. Right. And one of the things is for you to stay motivated and stay on track of what you're doing, you need to have a why and always come back to that why, because there are going to be times where you feel like things aren't going your way or you feel like quitting or something along those lines. So you always need to come back to your why. Why are you doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I making sure? Is it for your family? Yeah. Is it because you want that lifestyle? You want that Lamborghini or whatever it may be? You need to find out what it is.
When people decide, I want to become fit to go to the gym, it's usually for a wedding.
Yeah.
But that wedding goes.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Everyone falls off, belly comes out again.
Once the wedding's finished, the why's finished, and the progress is finished. What's been what's been your favourite guest? I know it's a difficult one because you've met a lot of incredible people. But
that's like asking you, Tanim, how many kids have you got?
One. I only got one.
Okay, inshallah when you have another one. That's like me asking you, who's your favourite kid?
Favorite guest in the sense that like the conversation really blew you away.
I actually done this one 2 days ago, I think it was, with the twin dentists.
Okay.
So alhamdulillah, they're absolutely.
Did both of them come?
Yeah, both of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're absolutely smashing it on next levels. You know, they're. I'll say this exclusively for your audience. But their last year's revenue, they closed out on 60 million. Yeah. This year, their projections to do 200 million. And just sitting them, I'm literally here right now. Yeah. I've got Hassan here, Hussein here, and you just understand the levels that they're operating at and how their brain's wired and how it's working, how they're getting that to 200 million. I think that one blew me away, thinking you guys are actual geniuses.
They're young, right?
Yeah, they are 29 now, yeah.
Where does it come from? Like, where they getting this big thinking, this drive? Because I've been following their content as well because, purely because they're doing so well. And I'm not so, impressed by the G-Wagons and all of that stuff, but they're actually building a massive brand and they're doing well and they know what they're doing.
For them, I want to say it's in their blood, but also I think they have the understanding of what they want their life to look like in the future. You know, retired with the private jet, the cars, the house, the lifestyle. And one thing I love about them as well is they never forget Islam. Throughout the whole journey, they've never got Islam. The first thing they've done when they came in the studio yesterday, it was around Maghrib time. They literally caught up on the Zohar and Asr, and then they prayed the Maghrib as well. And that's for them, that was their first and foremost thing. We need to get this out of the way first.
Respect.
Well, not get it out of the way, but you know what I mean? Catch up on the prayers, and then we can go into the podcast. So alhamdulillah, for them, it's an inspiration to see that these are guys who are projecting to do 200 million, but Islam is still in their heart. And I know it's such a simple thing to say. However, there are loads of entrepreneurs on the internet who are doing exceptionally well, whether they're Muslim or not. But you can see that they're far away from Deen. So seeing that as an example is amazing.
It's inspiring. It's inspiring.
What actually separates them from everyone? Like, how have they been able to build this empire? Like, have you been able to grasp something, or have they said anything to you that just allowed you to know it's like, wow, this is how they operate at such a high level?
Well, that would literally dissect the whole business. But I mean, to go into it, understanding the marketplace. Are we talking about those sort of things? Or?
Yeah, this is good for the audience. Right?
I mean, understanding their marketplace, understand how they can differentiate themselves. Sorry, bad in my English, and dominance. So literally, when they're going into that marketplace, knowing exactly what they can do differently and how they can incorporate into customers' lives, giving them the best experience possible, and tailoring for them, making it easy for them. The fact that someone can book a consultation call and in 3 hours they can go to the nearest dentist, get the aligners, and then take it from there. And you know, they've signed up, and I think they've got like 40 sales reps or something, just doing it all over the country, back and forth. And the model itself is insane. So they were even saying yesterday or 2 days ago, 90% of their business is all the tech and infrastructure. 10% is the actual physical aligners and going to the dentist and stuff. So for me, I was understanding of this isn't a dentistry game.
Yeah.
For them, it's a tech thing. I was like,
Wow.
okay, now I understand why it's worth what it's worth.
Wow. I mean, which part of tech is it? The
So they've built all the systems, softwares, and everything to make sure it all runs smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very inspiring. Like when I think about them, I'm like the impression I get is they're doing things big.
Yeah.
They think big. They go with big energy. They go with big, big ideas and big execution.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
That's it. Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
So that's when's the episode coming out?
Oh, I don't even know. I was saying to you off camera, I'm backlog 6-7 weeks.
6 7
I want to say this week's next week's February, then maybe 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Yeah.
So, has there been something that you've heard that is like, wow, this is now gonna really change the way I see things? Over the years, obviously, we're asking you to recall quite a lot, but that wow moment, that the penny dropped for you at some point where you were listening to someone at some point.
I don't think it's been someone particular at one point. I think over the period of 5 years, I'm speaking to over 200 entrepreneurs. For me, I've realized, so the whole purpose of me starting CEO Cast was to find my business and to set me up for retirement and stuff like that. While CEO Cast became the business, I've always been looking at and analysing what business to go into. For example, whether it be property, whether it be tech, whether it be whatever it is. And one thing I've realised is the commonality within what sets millionaires apart and billionaires apart is a lot of it is to do with software. And I feel like now I've got the idea in my head of creating software and systems in place that you can then sell, build it, scale it, sell it, and having it, you've got to start the business with an exit in mind. For me, I've understood that software and tech is where it's at. I don't know if I answered your question or not.
No, it does. That's a major breakthrough because otherwise, you could spend your whole life.
I see it as a breakthrough in my eyes.
Right?
I see it as a breakthrough in my eyes because I used to always think, you know what, if I want to be rich, I want to get into a car wrapping game because I look at people like Yanamaz and they've got the cars and stuff.
But they'll never get to the billions.
No, that industry you can't get into the billions. But if we want to go absolutely berserk and really far, excuse my hood language, but gone clear. You know what I mean? That's what you want basically. Software, IT, tech, that's where it's at. Yeah.
And I have noticed a lot of the people that I look up to, eventually they end up in some kind of software.
Yeah, it's the only way forward. Everyone has that realization.
Once they've made 10, 20, 30 mil, then they're thinking, okay, how do we get to hundreds of millions and billions?
That's the answer.
They realize.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it makes sense because software has all of the traits. It's scalable. It has different layers of leverage. Because it's code leverage. It's there's no geographical limit. There's no physical limit of how many people can use your software. So it ticks all the boxes of how you add maximum benefit and value to a huge number of people.
That, and not just that, but if you create such a great product, yes, you need customers. However, if it's such a great product, you won't even need too many customers before someone in your industry sees I'm talking about big blue chip company, sees what you're doing and think that's such a great software. It's gonna cost us X to build it. Let's just buy them. Let's just buy them out. So you could have, let's just say 100 customers, but your property management software might be so next level and so good to a point where Rightmove or Zoopla might say, you know what, Tanim, I'm buying you out. Cool. You want 20 mil? Take it.
Because it's going to cost them more to
build it and get it all right. Yeah.
So that's actually a profound insight. Build to sell. And I've even heard of entrepreneurs that build something already knowing who they were going to sell it to.
Yeah.
Literally, there's people like that I know who I'm gonna sell this to.
They do that,
and I'm gonna build it 3 years, and it's tough because huge startup cost. For tech startups. Huge risk of failure.
Well, this is why it's great, for not I say this no ego way at all, but in a position that I'm in today, and I've got multi-millionaires and billions around me. If I have that one idea,
the money will come.
The money will come because I literally have all the investment in my phone book. Call everyone saying, you want to invest and stuff like that, and all sorts of stuff. Because I've got a great relationship with them, they will probably do so.
And I guess that's probably one of the biggest hidden wealth that you have right now, which is the social capital.
In what sense?
That you can, you probably have access to tens of millions of investment, or people that you can call up and get advice from that the average person wouldn't have access to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I wouldn't say so much as social capital. I agree. I know exactly what you're saying, but for me, it's always been in-person interactions is who I get the most value from, whether I know them online, socially or not. The difference is because I have a brand and somewhat known, it's easier for me to access these rooms or access these people. I suppose it goes hand in hand with what you're saying, yeah.
So you mentioned that you started, and this for me is fascinating because I've heard this before, that you started the podcast with the intention of, let me speak to entrepreneurs, I might find a good business idea.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
And then obviously this then took momentum of its own and a life of its own, and it's now become your main vocation.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. So that's very interesting, because most people start a podcast because they either want to build an audience, or they want the podcast to be the monetization.
No, that wasn't my goal at all. I mean, at first things I didn't see myself making a lot of money from it, so that was for me out the window. I wasn't doing it for the money, and the audience. It wasn't that I didn't have the connection with them, but once again going back to it, my intention was to build my business, and it was okay, cool. Let me take my audience, whoever's with me, along this journey with me. You got to bear in mind, I was only maybe 50 people at that time. And so it was just taking them on the journey, basically. And my thing was, once I found the business, I don't need to do the podcast anymore, because this is my life now. Whether it be car wrapping, whether it be tech, whether it be property, it was like, right, I've got this sorted. I've managed to, after 20 episodes, I finally got through to Tanim. He's taught me everything about property. Let me get into property. Goodbye, podcast.
Got you.
That was my idea.
So why did that never happen?
I just like doing the podcast. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I enjoyed speaking to people, meeting new people, and I think I'm a naturally very, very curious person.
Yeah.
I want to know everything about you. I want to know. It might even sound too invasive to people. But I want to know where you're getting all your money from. I want to know all this. I want to know all that. And for me, that's just like, I get naturally curious about that. So the more people I speak to, the more curious I get, and that's why I can't stop doing the podcast. Even, inshallah, Tanim, when I am a multi-millionaire and I've got X business or sold this business for tens of millions, I will still do the podcast. Yeah. Because I just love having a conversation with people. Yeah.
Would you have conversations? Obviously, it's always great to have a conversation with someone who's achieved something successful. Do you have the same curiosity for like average people?
Yeah, all the time. I always have great conversations with. I wouldn't even call them average people. People are just people at the end of the day. But yeah, I always have great conversations regardless of who the people are.
Obviously, average meaning.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, but no, I always have great conversations with everyone.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Because obviously that directly plays into what makes a great podcast host, right?
Yeah. And you'd be surprised as well, because a lot of what you'd say are like average guys or average women for that matter, they all, if they're working a 9 to 5, they all have the idea of starting a business of some sort, and that's exactly what they want to do. It's just not a lot of people take that initial step to do so. I'll give you an example. I speak to my brother-in-law all the time. He works within the financial sector, 9 to 5. And he's got the idea of starting his own business and everything, but it's just about taking that initial step. Off the back of that, what I'm trying to say is you end up having such great conversations because you understand, not to sound like squib here, what's their dream and what their desire, what their goals are, what their ambition is, and that's not tied down to their job or their career. Yeah. That's just the whole life as a whole. Yeah.
Would you say most of these successful entrepreneurs were self-made? Did most of them start from zero, or?
Yeah. 99% of the people I've heard on the podcast have started from zero. There's a couple of people I can think off the top of my head, like Raheem, who's got Platinum Executive Travel. Obviously, the thought I would have started there. However, saying that, he's
taking it on a different level.
He's been the marketing guy for it since 2011 or 12, I think it is. So situations like that where the next generation just add their line of fire and add their generational twist onto it to make it go 10x. Yeah.
So most of them were obviously, when we say self-made, because obviously risk comes from Allah, and you know, our understanding of it is different, but they all started from zero. That's very, very interesting, and not just interesting, but also inspiring for most people hearing this. Mashallah, there's some good questions coming through already.
Oh, but I didn't. You know, look away from the computer for 1 second and you see what's what.
So what's interesting about this question is, I've always believed that if the product is good enough, the money will come.
Yeah, of course.
So if someone's struggling to raise funds, is because what you're working on is probably not as good as it could be or should be.
Yeah, your idea has to be absolutely solid where other people believe in it. If you don't believe in it 100% yourself, no one else is going to believe in it.
And sometimes what people miss is the validation piece.
Yeah.
Like proving that this will work and there's demand for it, and here's a waiting list of customers waiting for this product.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you can't show any of that, then it'll be hard for someone to...
I've had situations where people have approached me for investment or funding or something like that. However, forget the idea itself. Sometimes they lack confidence in what the actual idea is. And that just tells me that they're not that confident in the idea in the first place. So therefore, even if I know about it or don't know about it, it might not be the best thing to invest into because they don't even seem to believe in themselves fully 100% in the first place. So that's always a thing to look at, you know, someone's confidence when it comes to...
They have to really believe in it.
100%.
And most investors, even the angel investors and the big boy investors, they always say, we always invest in the person.
That's it.
It's
exactly
not so much the
exactly
idea,
that.
but it's the person, because the right person will always find a way to pivot, a way to overcome issues.
Yeah. Same goes, you know, if someone has a not the greatest business idea, however, they come to you with full-fledged confidence and the vision and the self-belief and everything, they are probably a person to invest into. Because you, as an entrepreneur, can find ways to tweak this or tweak that and make their business a solid business. But it's the person that's their drive and enthusiasm that will get you there. Yeah.
And I remember one of my mentors always said, you have to be investable. If you want investment, you have to be investable.
Exactly.
Are you trustworthy?
Yeah.
Are you someone who delivers when they say something?
Yeah.
Are you someone who has perseverance and can find solutions? If you're not investable, then the money won't come to you.
Exactly that, yeah.
There's a really nice question here from Brother Hasib, who is building a tech platform. But his question is around personal branding.
Yeah.
So, what order should building a personal brand come in when building a business? And I think we were talking about that a little bit earlier. From the CEOs you've interviewed, should you do both alongside or one after the other? So, do you build the business first and then your personal brand, or the personal brand first and then the business, or both at the same time?
I think it depends on what the business is, because some of these businesses rely on personal brands. Yes. Some of these businesses don't rely on it at all. Going back to the tech example, I can't think, apart from your Apple and Teslas and stuff like that, but I'm always going to naturally relate it to property because you're in property. But the Rightmove, do you know who the owner of Rightmove is?
No idea.
But they're probably a multi-million pound business. There you go, 80 million, and no one even knows who that is. So if you come onto the forefront, I'm going to get a podcast here and watch.
Let's get him on.
But you know, someone like that who hasn't even got a personal brand himself or herself, we don't even know who it is. That's an example of they've built the business first and then personal brand they haven't even thought about. But then there's other businesses such as YouTubers.
I think Lord Raheem is a good example, actually.
Yeah, probably, yeah, because
the personal brand
which
brings in a lot of clientele.
Yeah, there you go. You thought the example there and then. But yeah, so I think it all depends on the business. I think, but in today's day and age, generally speaking, I would say always build a personal brand regardless of what you're doing, and smash it from there.
It's not easy because I think just if you're working on a startup to at the same time also build a personal brand. But when we say personal brand, it doesn't mean you have to be doing a video a week, or it could just be writing on Twitter.
Personal brand is just
LinkedIn every week.
Yeah, people assume or people believe that personal brand means you have to make content all the time. You have to do this. You have to do that. Go out of the way and everything. When really and truly, personal brand, the only thing that it means is what are you known for.
Yeah.
Tanim, you're known in property. Me, I'd say I'm known for podcasts. What is your personal brand? It's just when people look at you, what is your name associated to? That's personal brand.
And to inform people of what you're associated with, you have to put something out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever sort of content it is, whether it be, as you said, writing things on Twitter, emails, YouTube videos. In my case, something.
For me, for 3 years, all I did was just writing on LinkedIn once a week.
Yeah,
and that LinkedIn audience generated just under £2 million in revenue.
Really?
Yeah, but it was 3 years of consistently
Yeah.
writing and getting better at writing, and I didn't really do a video until about...
You done all the writing yourself?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I need to hire
There
you
you go.
for
No.
copywriting.
Those days are gone for me now, bro.
He's a good copywriter.
Is it?
He's a good copywriter.
Straight away.
You have to
New
learn
job?
everything, right? You have to learn everything.
No.
I think that's an interesting insight I've had recently, is that the best entrepreneurs can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
A
but
little bit of
you
everything.
have to learn skills all from the beginning. You know, if there's anything I've learned over the years, especially in my case, is any business you're going into, learn the skills yourself rather than getting people for it. Because if people leave, let's just say I've started a podcast from scratch. I don't know anything about editing or cameras or nothing like that. I've hired the whole team. If they leave or I can't afford to pay them anymore, there goes my podcast. But you know, you learn all the skills from the get-go, from the beginning. You will know everything. If someone drops out, you can easily step in and replace them until you find a replacement for them.
Yeah.
Learn everything as much as you can. As you just said, you know, you've probably got a copyright for all your emails, LinkedIn, etc., stuff like that. But you did it all yourself at one point.
At the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
So then I can tell if something is good or if something
Exactly,
isn't.
and that as well. Yeah, you can quality control your own stuff. How can you quality control if you don't know what the hell's going on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's something for the audience to take away, which is there is a lot of things. As a business owners, there's a lot of things for us to learn and continuously improve on. Whether it is, and I've done video editing as I used to hate it. I used to record on my phone with a cheap mic from Amazon.
That's how I started the podcast.
And then iMovies.
Yep, that's how I edited the podcast.
Bro, a 12-minute video would take me 2 hours to edit,
100%,
and it was just very basic stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, you teach yourself everything.
Yeah.
You know, we've learnt about funnels, we've learnt about public speaking, we're learning about how to build a community now, we're learning about this, we're learning about legal stuff on the property side. Constant learning.
That's it.
Learning.
Literally, exactly that.
And that's how you keep on growing, and as you grow, the business also can grow.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, just before this, live stream even started, me and brother here, we were trying to figure out how to set certain things up. I couldn't figure it out, but now it's in my head, and I now have to go home and study how to do this.
Yeah.
Like just for my own sanity to make sure I know exactly what's what.
So this is a good trait to have as an entrepreneur, because it's like, okay, I want to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
That's a really good trait, because when it comes to technical things, I'm a bit lazy. Like, okay, the camera stuff, like let someone else do it.
Oh, it looks like you need to learn as well.
I need to learn as well. More on the technical side of things. Alhamdulillah. So, what are the best and quickest ways CEOs got traction with their product and software via marketing? Can you share some ways people manage to gain virality within their business? So have you come across any interesting ideas of, from a marketing perspective that people have done in your conversations to get traction with their product or their platform or their software?
You see, marketing for softwares, services and platforms, not services but software in particular, is more difficult than your traditional businesses. I'm thinking it because I'm looking at an example off the top of my head. I interviewed a guy named Saigin Yalchin. He owns basically the buyer's version of We Buy Any Car. Billionaire, yeah. So his thing was, the product's got to be so great that eventually it becomes word of mouth. Obviously you do all your SEO and stuff for websites, but his general marketing has always been banners and things physically available, and marketing the convenience of it, for the fact that you could sell your car within 30 seconds and all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to think of any other ways, but it wouldn't usually be your typical Facebook ads or Instagram ads and stuff like that. It's
you got to be creative.
Yeah.
And also it depends on. So the best marketing for him is just saying sell your car in 30 seconds. 30 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was it 30 minutes or 30 seconds?
30 seconds. No, sorry, 30 minutes.
Even 30 minutes is crazy. Sell your car in 30 minutes. That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
And blast it in as many places as you can.
Yeah, you go on your lunch break, sell your car, 20 grand in your pocket, depending on the car, of course. Yeah.
But it's the offer then, isn't it?
It's the convenience. People love convenience. If you can match their convenience, then you're on to a winning offer.
So marketing, a lot of it comes down to how good the offering actually is. Are you able to say, do something that would take you 3 days in 30 minutes? Is your product and service that good?
Yeah.
You know, are you providing anything?
Yeah, and going back to it, you know, I look at it because I'm trying to build a software right now myself as well, and I look at like ways which we can market. However, I'm not even focusing so much on the marketing right now. It's get the product great.
Yeah.
So far, get it great, it perfect. I can't say too much, but it's in the world of content and content creation.
Okay.
And then you hand it out to people in my network who are other content creators. They'll recommend it to more people. Eventually, you know, my way would be marketing it to other YouTubers, people who are highly viewed on YouTube for editing tutorials and stuff like that. And that would be like my idea of marketing. But for me, the thing at the forefront is get the product right.
It has to be the best version that it can be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So one question I had is, you probably have asked people what mistakes they may have done along the way.
Yeah.
So what sort of things were people mentioning when it comes to mistakes?
Well, funny enough, we were just speaking about it, is a lot of entrepreneurs say not delegating or building a team sooner.
Okay.
I think naturally as entrepreneurs, especially solo entrepreneurs, we're scared to invest that bit into a team because we're thinking, right, this dipping into our margins. I'm on 10k a month. If I now get a team, I'm now on 3k a month, 7k in outgoings. And that's the mentality and that's the mindset.
Yeah.
And everyone who I speak to say, you know, the sooner you can delegate tasks and the sooner you can invest into that, then do it. Because if you don't, you're only just longing yourself out for your success. Your success, you're delaying it. If you're a solo entrepreneur, you're delaying it by another 10 years. You have a team around you, you're bringing it closer to you because everything is all manageable at that point. So yeah, everyone's always said the same thing, team and delegation, not doing it sooner.
That makes so much sense. And I always give the analogy of, if you're building a business, it's like building a house. So would you not have the help from the very beginning? When you're trying to build a house, you want the help.
Exactly.
You don't want to bring people in later, halfway through,
Exactly,
because it's just going to take forever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember when we were in Dubai at the retreat this time last year, we did the whole exercise of the 10x thinking.
Yes.
And for you, what came up is, if I remember correctly...
Well, actually, I was late that day, to be fair.
You and Faisal were discussing
what
for you to 10x what you're doing here, what would it take? And it was basically building a team, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
You guys were mentioning that.
Yeah.
So have you made any steps towards that?
I've got a full team now for everything.
Oh, wow.
I don't even do it. So, like, just to put it in context, the only thing I do now is turn on the cameras, record, and that's it.
Wow, fantastic.
Now, alhamdulillah, I've got a team for everything else. Yeah.
Life is good now.
Oh, no, the only reason why I wanted to do that is so I can do other things.
Yeah.
You know, build businesses in the background or invest in people here and there.
Yeah, which is obviously a higher values.
Exactly, and I couldn't do that before by doing a podcast, going home, right, let's edit this, going to be here for 2 days editing, it gets long.
Yeah.
So that was my thing, just do that, and alhamdulillah, you know, it's been great because it goes back. I've been listening to, so I started listening to a podcast and seeing a guy online called Dan Martell. Familiar with him?
Yes.
Yeah? And his whole thing is buy back your time.
Yeah.
And I've always understood the whole thing of investing in team delegation and all that. And then I went on an actual search to find the team and all of that stuff. And then I got it. And now that saying couldn't be more true. Buy back your time. Because it gives you so much more access to all these other opportunities, available things.
Absolutely.
You know, we're going to Dubai next week. If I had podcasts to film and to edit, that wouldn't be possible.
So true.
So for me, I'm buying back my time. I'm making more money, alhamdulillah, and I'm more free and flexible, which is a win-win-win.
It's a triple win.
Literally, yeah.
But I guess how are you making more money if you have more cost? Because that's the thing that goes through people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How are you making more money if you have more cost? You've got more salaries to pay.
Yeah, but then you have more time to make more money.
Yeah.
You find ways and you learn ways to make more money.
Because you have more time.
I've now got time to read books like $100 million offers or $100 million leads.
Yeah.
From there you get a bunch of ideas. Then you have time to implement it and so on and so forth.
And you mentioned the book. I actually flew out to San Diego to attend a conference, and Alex Hormozi was there, and we came back, and we studied the hell out of that book. Tripled our revenue in 2 months.
Is it? Alhamdulillah.
No, I'm just saying. if we didn't have teams, it wouldn't have been possible for us to take 7 days out to go and immerse yourself in a learning experience, in a conference and all of that.
Yeah.
And imagine the opportunity cost of that 7 days.
Done a podcast yesterday with a guy, his name is Usman Kiani. Have you seen him on socials at all?
It rings a bell.
He specializes in sales, training sales teams.
Okay.
He said he read the book $100 Million Offers, and basically off the back of reading his book, he basically made himself $100,000. So from a book that costs £20, I think it is.
It's less, even less.
Whatever it is, yeah, less. You can literally change your whole life if you just get it right.
So we actually taught a good chunk of the theory of that book in the mastermind we had last weekend in London.
Really?
That was, I think, is one of the easiest way of improving any business. Is just to improve their offer.
That's it. Yeah.
How do you make the offer better, more valuable, and essentially get it to a point where it's irresistible.
Yeah.
Like you have to be stupid to say no.
Yeah.
And it's possible to do.
Yeah.
It's really possible to do it.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, glad that I think that's an incredible point. We actually did a whole almost 2 to 3 hours trying to explain this point to the entrepreneurs in the room, that you constantly want to review what's your 80-20. What's the 20% of the work that's giving you 80% of, and your job is to just focus on that 20%, delegate everything else out.
That's it. Yeah.
And you keep doing that, keep doing that, because every 6 months that 20% will change.
Yeah, that's it.
So the 80-20 for me a while ago was writing posts on social media, because that's what used to get me the leads. Now, my 80-20 now is completely different. And next year maybe it'll be completely different. So it's a constant recalibration of what is the work that I'm supposed to be doing, and what is the 80% that's I need to delegate as soon as possible. Inshallah, lots of gems here being uncovered and shared. Alhamdulillah. No, for sure, man. I'm learning a lot myself, and it's bringing up a lot of things that I've read, heard, and the reminder is always beneficial for the believer. So what do you advise a CEO who seeks perfection and fears to delegate work due to this? This is a very common problem. No one can do it better than I, and it's going to take him so long, I might as well just do it myself.
So there's that way. I interpret it completely different.
Okay.
I interpret it as, when he's seeking perfection, is he talking about different candidates that he's trying to hire and trying to find the perfect one, or what was it?
I think the perfection in getting the job done.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all
the editing. Let's say, for example, editing. You have a particular way of editing.
Yeah, no, I used to think for 3-4 years straight that no one can edit just like me. Yeah. But until you try, you realise.
So how did you break through that then? You have to try it, basically. Be willing.
I just knew that the only way for me to grow is by doing this.
Okay.
So even if it means, in my head, alright, I need to sacrifice a little bit of the quality of editing.
Yes.
To grow, then so be it. However, then it turned out and be that editing is exactly the same, if not better, than the way I edit.
Yeah.
So, that's for me there. Yeah.
I had this blockage, because it's a blockage. This belief is a blockage because it's stopping you from moving to the more high value stuff. For me, it was with closing. When I have a lead that is, interested in a 20k package. I'm the first person to sell it. I know everything about my industry, my program, this, my that.
Yeah.
How is someone else gonna sell it better than me?
Yeah.
Guess what? A professional closer.
Knows exactly what's what.
Knows what they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they can learn the information, use their high level closing skills, and they're closing at a higher rate than I ever did.
Exactly.
But you have to be willing to take that chance. And the pain of not growing is higher than the pain of your task being a little bit imperfect.
I want to just come to Adam's question there about the charity. So thank you, because it's Friday. You reminded me to give my charity today, but also to answer it as well. You say 5% of profits. I don't have a specific percentage on it, but I give charity out of my revenue. I see that as a cost in a. I don't mean to make it sound like a bad way, but I see it like it's got to be done, sort of thing. So whenever something big happens, like secured a big sponsor, for example, or just monthly earnings, a percentage of it is 100% got to go to charity. 100%.
Charity is the biggest wealth multiplier.
That's it, yeah.
And I'm mentioning that from experience of giving an amount, and then 3 days later, 3x, 5x.
Do you know what, Tanim? I wish, like, obviously charity, you want to,
Yeah, you got to be careful.
You don't want to say too much, but I can literally say that.
It's crazy, right?
You're giving a certain amount, and you think, all right, you give it without the intention of wanting to get anything back, but the way Allah delivers on the return, mental.
So that's literally the biggest unblocker of barakah, and one of the main growth strategies is to give. And there's many ways of giving. It's not just monetary. A business can give in many ways. Like we often bring in work experience, teenagers to do work experience, all that type of stuff. There's many ways of giving. If you have, let's say, equipment, maybe somebody needs it for something, they need a picture for the CV, no problem, come to stuff like that. There's many ways to give.
Make sure you have barakah in your business. That will set you apart from the rest.
Absolutely. And everybody knows about Al-Baik.
And
the only thing I can pinpoint is the fact that they made sadaqah part of their business model from day one.
What was it?
They give,
the
I think it was 1 riyal for every meal, and the meals are like 7 riyal, bro.
The father started that.
Then
the sons got involved, and then they doubled it or tripled it.
Yeah, because basically,
it's 20%.
20%.
Because it's 2 riyal for every.
Now it is. So what happened when the father passed away? Everyone thought that the boys won't carry on with it. But what they did is they doubled it. And bro, I do not understand what's so good about Al-Baik. But subhanAllah, if you see the kid, bro, Jeddah Airport, 7 a.m.
Bro,
there's a queue at
Al-Baik. Like Dixie, Lakers, all that stuff. I'll tell you, bro, they don't even know what they're missing out.
But
no, alhamdulillah, the barakah.
That is the most, in the modern days, the best example of what barakah in business actually looks like.
That's it, literally.
That's it.
Now, I want to touch upon what Brother Abdul Qadir is saying. That we had jobs. I was in the rat race. You had a job. I remember BT, was it? Then we were not born entrepreneurs. We took the difficult decisions. I was broke for 3 years. 3 years. I was living on £800 a month as an LSE graduate, and in my internships at uni, I was getting paid £5,000 a month. That's the sacrifice that I made for my why. My why was so big and so powerful and so dominating that I was willing to do whatever it took for me to carve a path within entrepreneurship. I'm sure you can share lots of your sacrifices you've had to make.
Yeah, I mean, going back to it, I've worked jobs, not just B2, but throughout my whole life since the legal age of being able to work, from lifeguard to JD, Shoe, Coffin Warehouse, Virgin, everything you name it, and eventually got into BT. Even then at BT, I never had no money, and I started with, going back to it, £20 microphone and filming with my iPhone. I mean, we all work for it. It's not like we never come from money. We didn't come from success or anything like that. We might have people around us in our families who are there to help us. However, ourselves, the only barrier is your mindset. Literally, the only barrier is your mindset.
Yeah, because how long did it take you guys to actually see revenue, big profits in your business, right? It took you a while, right?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, like the first, I think the first year of CEO cost, I think I maybe made £1,500, £2,000.
Yeah.
Next year 2 was like 10,000, and bear in mind at BT, I think I was getting paid 16,000, and I didn't work that hard for CEO costs. So when I saw, I was like, hold on, I'm working way less. I'm earning close enough. I'm going clear. Do you know what I mean? But it's all about the perception of money, and then you start thinking, okay, now how can we actually up this and stuff like that.
So very important point here. You can't use the barrier of not having time, not having money, or not having the understanding as an excuse. If you want this life, then you need to do whatever it takes to overcome that barrier. And in our case, it was like, okay, I don't have knowledge, I don't have money, I have a lot of time. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna focus on business. I was even doing Uber, bro. I was doing Uber to make ends meet.
Yeah,
I was driving my mom's car. I didn't have money to buy my car. I used to borrow my mom's car. In those days, Uber didn't exist, by the way. I'm talking about 2015, 2016. I was basically going to pick up my friend who used to work in the city. He would finish work at 2 a.m. And his work gave him £50 to get a cab. So instead of him using a normal cab, he'd call me. I would wait until 2 a.m.
to do that
for his call. That bro, okay, I'm coming.
Gotta be done.
Gotta do what you gotta do. So you can't use that as an excuse. And if you do, no problem. You'll stay exactly where you are. And those who manage to find a way around it, they will obviously reap the benefits of that.
If there's youngsters in here, I'm not sure the ages of everyone in here. I mean, this can probably sound like stupid advice, or if you want to backtrack me on it, but I mean, I would even go as far as to say quit your job, because then you got no plan B. That's what happened to me. I had no plan B. It had to work. And if the reason why I say if you're young is because chances are you're probably living at home. You've got no responsibilities. You've got the time to do it. And worst case scenario, it doesn't work. You can go get another job. So yeah, that might sound like stupid advice, but I mean, when you've got no plan B, it's all or nothing.
It burned the boats.
Yeah, basically.
Or burn the ships.
Burn the ships.
Burn the ships. And my business partner gives this example. That he did the same. He just quit his 50k consulting job because he was absolutely fed up of it. No plan B, no nothing. But he knew
how bad you want it.
Until I do it, I will never be desperate enough to make something else.
Exactly. It's how bad you want it. I've got a question for you, Tanim. You know, in a world where we're surrounded by finance, mortgages, car loans, credit cards, the whole lot, you name it. How do you get away with it? Not get away with it, get away from it. But how do you also still
succeed without?
Yeah.
So that's a limiting belief, which is that without these instruments, I can't be successful.
No, I'm not saying it's impossible.
No, I'm saying, So what we should think, and it's a helpful way to think, is by staying away from these things, I will be in the pleasure of Allah and I'll be able to achieve even more. And my story is an example. That I said, I don't want to touch riba. So I didn't go to uni straight away. I took a year out because I wanted to work. I wanted to work so that I don't have to take loans for university. And Allah blessed me with a job at Deloitte at age 17.
Is it? Alhamdulillah.
18, and not only was it a work for a year, they called me back for part-time afterwards. They then offered me a grad scheme, all of that. So I could have just gone straight to uni. Same thing with the property stuff. We decided we're going to do property with no riba. And subhanAllah, what we've been able to achieve, we've been blessed to achieve in a short 4 years is crazy. And that's only because of the barakah. So,
but what about? I know your model of property, but what about actually buying property?
Buying. So there's a thing, bro. Buying a house cash is not that difficult if you learn the business game.
In London, it is. If you need 600 bags cash.
Yeah, if you know how to do business, it shouldn't be hard. Now, I'd rather spend 5 years building a business and selling it for 2 million than have a 25-year mortgage.
No, of course, 100%. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
You see, but that obviously it's okay for people who are in that space, and there's not many of us. For the normal Muslim who is in a normal career, alhamdulillah, there are halal options. We're lucky, bro, in the UK, and many people live in the Middle East, Malaysia. There's halal financing options. So you grab them with both hands.
What's your opinions on this? I know this is not in mine or your sector, but you see that there's companies that say they've got halal finance for vehicles, but all they do is put the actual interest markup in the cash price, and then you're paying monthly installments, but the interest is included in that, but it's just marked under your finance plan, if that makes sense. What's your opinions on that?
It depends on how many parties are involved. So I looked into this quite deeply. That it's okay if it's you and the seller. If there's a third party finance provider involved, then there's a problem.
Why is that?
Because then they're making money from that markup. That's riba. They're making money for lending.
So in an instance where it would be halal is if you sold me your car,
Yeah.
the cash price is 20k, but I can't afford to pay you 20k, so you put it to 22k, but I'm paying you.
That's completely halal.
Yeah.
If it's just between me and you. That's
Okay.
completely halal. But what some of these companies are doing is they have a third party finance company and then they just tweak their contracts. But you still owe the finance company. So it's making money on money.
What if, put in speculation,
Yeah.
I wanted to go buy a Lamborghini
Yeah.
and the finance is from Lamborghini.
Directly.
Yeah.
That could change the game. That could be different. That could be different.
But if it's from a bank, like Lamborghini outsource the finance to another company, and that's where
because then that company is making money by lending.
Yeah.
They're making a profit through lending, which is the haram part.
Okay, makes sense. Have you researched? I know we're off track, but have you researched property market in Dubai? Do they do Sharia law mortgages?
There is a lot of Sharia compliant stuff there. You can even buy off plan and pay in installments and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's good options out there.
Yeah. Because I'm not on the property ladder yet, and it's one thing I want to do. But I'm just thinking, to avoid interest, and I'm fully with you. Like, I love the fact that you promote, not buying property with riba. And so I just look at it going to a Sharia law compliant country such as, and I know Dubai does have interest. It's not that they don't, but there are companies there who follow actual Sharia law. And I'm just thinking, what about
it's a good shout for sure. It's a great opportunity if you bullish about Dubai in the long run.
Yeah.
If you maybe see yourself living there,
100%.
or even as a investment,
Yeah.
and there's always going to be demand for Airbnb and just
all that
rent all that
stuff. Yeah,
stuff.
that's exactly what I
It's a
think.
pretty good shout. It's
yeah.
a pretty good shout. And they have like legitly Sharia compliant. So the money you're paying is directly to the developer. There's no bank or finance company, but it's directly with the developer.
Okay.
And they've removed all of the punitive fees because that's also riba.
So essentially, it's almost like the equivalent of paying rent to your landlord.
Basically, but that rent
is the mortgage.
That rent buys you equity.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a good shout. Anybody looking for, especially if you see yourself living there long term, it's a good idea. You can literally put down a deposit and then pay monthly for like 20, 25 months, sometimes longer.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the prices will look like over the next 5 to 10 years, but if it's for you to live in, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Yes.
Okay, this is an interesting question of the transition. So let's bring this back to, and we're going to answer this question: how do you transition from employment to entrepreneurship? And I have an opinion on this. From all of the entrepreneurs you spoke to, they probably all started from maybe doing some kind of job. Did they all go straight into it? Did they build the business on the side and wait for it to make a certain amount?
It's honestly a 50-50 split
50-50,
between the fact of, all right, cool, is my business now matching my income from work? Then you've got the choice to make. Do I quit the job? Do I quit the business? What do I do? And all of them are obviously going down the route of quitting the job and going for the business.
Yeah.
Or the other thing is where it's a situation like me where it's quit work, it's all in and nothing now. We have to make this work. Yeah. So the sensible thing would be to make build the business up. When it's at the point of where it matches your job, then you've got the choice that you have to make of which one do you want to put more time and effort into. Because if you've built your business, let's just say you earn £2,000 from work monthly, and your business now earning £2,000 monthly as well profit, and that's 50% energy on each one. What does it look like when you put 100% energy into your business? Do you know what I mean? On paper, it says £4,000, but really and truly, you probably get to 6, 10, 15, so on and so forth. So comes to that inflection point.
So my advice is always, if you have a family and bills and responsibilities, then start your business on the side. And all of my mentees in the property academy, they all have jobs, they all have families, and they're just starting on the side. You get your first 500 a month, then 1,000 a month, then 1,500 a month, and you just slowly keep building it until a point comes where your brain will tell you, hold on, I'm making 4,000 from my salary and 5,000 from my property.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to quit. That time will come. But I never tell anyone when to quit or that should they quit. Some of them go part-time on work and spend more time here. Some people are just can't wait to finally leave work. It depends on your situation.
Yeah.
But it involves building something on the side. And that's obviously a sacrifice of maybe less time with family for a couple of years, maybe less time watching TV shows for a couple of years, a little bit less sleep for a couple of years, but that's what it takes to make this leap, which so many people dream of, but very few people do.
Exactly.
From brother Fuad, who's mashallah been very, very, very active in our community, and we really appreciate your contributions.
Alhamdulillah, I love to see it.
Yeah, he's mashallah
right
top of the leaderboard in our school community.
Is it? Mashallah.
Yeah. Absolute legend. And I think Rakib is gonna be helping us with some stuff, automation stuff, mashallah. So he's asking, as someone navigating leadership in the business world while staying true to your Islamic principles, how do you balance personal ambition with serving the Muslim Ummah through your ventures? Okay, that's a very interesting question. A personal question, but I think it's something that we should all think about. Whether you have a job or a business, we all want to have some kind of plan for serving the Ummah and achieving the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you have any thoughts on this?
So my personal ambition, so just nod if I'm correct. Are you talking about like my specific goals, like, you know, whether it's materialistic and stuff like that? Yeah, I mean, obviously I have all those materialistic goals. You know, my goals are by the end of the year have my villa in Dubai, inshallah, with a Lamborghini on the driveway and family, and finally maybe get married. That's a long story.
Why first the Lamborghini first?
Huh?
Why first the Lamborghini first?
My wife can wait. We get the Lambo first. But how do I balance it with? I mean, for me, you know, alhamdulillah, I've got podcasts, got business, stuff like that. But my number one factor in life is Islam. That is at the core of everything. Every decision I make, everything I do is all considered, you know, in Islam. And if there's something I don't know, you know, I need advice on something, you know, I'll speak to brothers like Tanim or anyone else who I wouldn't even necessarily more educated than me in Islam, but just people that you can, they kind of validate your thinking. So, for example, I had that deal. I'm not sure if you saw the TikTok where I had a deal promoting interest. Yeah, I'll be honest. When I was on the call with them, it completely blew over my head about what I'm about to do.
You just saw the numbers.
I didn't agree to them. I saw the numbers. I was like, okay, cool. And then I started thinking about it after it was only when I saw the actual paper via email of what I've actually got to do. I was like, nah, I can't do this. But I was like, let me see if it's that deep anyway. So I started calling people like Mohir, people like Muds, etc. Saying, like, boys, what should I do? And for me, they're just validating what I already think of, don't do this. So I suppose to tie the two together is, yes, you know, alhamdulillah, I've got my personal visions of getting a Lamborghini villa and all that sort of stuff. But the way I look at it is, if I stay true to my core values of Islam and just be the best Muslim I can whilst also preaching the message of Islam, then Allah will provide me, inshallah, those ways to do it in the halal way, inshallah. Going back to it of, you know, maybe purchasing the property in Dubai, Sharia law compliant, getting the Lambo with Lambo finance or stuff like that.
Why not cash, bro? Why not cash, bro?
Yeah, we'll do cash as well, you know, inshallah. But for me, and if there's not, if it doesn't align with my Islamic morals, then I won't do it. And then I think, you know, serving the Muslim Ummah as well. I don't know if you noticed, I don't know if you watched the podcast at all, but there are podcasts, a lot of them where I either speak about Islam, especially if the person is Muslim.
I've seen you do nice dawah moves.
Yeah. Always
on some of the
bro. So there's a Chinese guest. The fact that he's Chinese is irrelevant. He's the only Chinese guest on my channel. His name is Dan Chung. He's a forex trader. Yeah. I converted him to Islam.
No.
What?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah. So he was. To be fair, he was curious about Islam. And you know, we had the podcast We were speaking about Islam a bit on there. Then we had a 2-hour conversation off the podcast.
So we got a question here around how to deal with not meeting high expectations of ourselves. How to deal with it, how to fix it, how to prevent it.
The way I deal with it is I'm very analytical about everything. So if I didn't meet a goal or target or something like that, I'd just sit back and understand why. Analyze every single bit of it. Realize there's something that I didn't. There's a move that I didn't make that didn't hit that goal or hit that expectation. And make sure I work on it so that the next time I do set that expectation or that goal, I know exactly what to do. I've done all the analysis for it.
Brilliant answer, because you got to go back and identify what the problem was. Until you do that, it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening.
A lot of people, and I'm not saying anyone in this group right now, but a lot of people just sit and sob about, oh, I didn't hit my goal. Go and analyze it.
What's next for CEO? Because I know you have launched a mastermind and you had like your first one in Dubai, looked amazing. I was on a family holiday, otherwise I would have joined. You got a community now as well, so like what's happening in 2025 and beyond?
Yeah, no, alhamdulillah, we got the next mastermind happening in May once again in Dubai.
Yeah, it's gonna be boiling.
Do you know it's not going to be that hot
Okay.
in May, so it should be good. But then we won't do it any time after that. So next one in May, inshallah. Going back to the whole thing of finding a team and all that sort of stuff for CEO cost, allows me to have more time to build other businesses. So one thing I'm working on right now and building is basically helping business owners get themselves on YouTube and the whole ideation process, all of it, to make sure that they blow up on YouTube. You know, if they're on YouTube, help them grow and scale. If they're not at all, then get them on there.
Can I be your guinea pig?
Yeah, of course, give you a charge for that. No, joking, of course. So stuff like that. I spoke to Raheem yesterday, that throughout Ramadan, inshallah, going back to your brother's question, I'm thinking of maybe doing a podcast live stream every single day for the month of Ramadan.
Oh wow!
With Muslim business owners.
Cool. That'd be cool.
I think that'd be quite cool. Yeah, that'd be quite sick.
Do you think a lot of your audience happens to be Muslim?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
So
already, yeah. Have you looked at the analytics? Like how?
No, YouTube don't say Muslim, Christian. YouTube don't say that, but
how would you know?
Because all the people who have meet me in person or
and
DMs and stuff like that, all the engagement, you can tell people are Muslim. Yeah. And then that's it, bro. I mean, that's my plans. You know, alhamdulillah, and inshallah, may Allah see where I get to and allow me to be successful.
Inshallah, may Allah give you tawfiq to not just achieve but exceed everything that you're hoping and dreaming from. But most importantly, to make you an asset, inshallah, for the ummah.
Inshallah.
And live a life that is pleasing to Allah, which leads to ultimate success. Alhamdulillah. Because in Jannah you can have 1,000 Lamborghinis.
That's it. Literally, I want
every color.
Yeah. I've been thinking about. I want a show in Jannah. I want the Lambos. I want the villas. I want everything. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to mention that I would like to invite all of you watching to our free community of business owners, Barakah Circle. There I come live twice a month. We have masterclasses. There's some content there as well to help you with a lot of the things we mentioned, which is focus, delegation, creating more time for yourself, time management. And also, we today learned about gems from entrepreneurs. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be doing a masterclass on what gems can we learn from the world's best companies, best and biggest companies. I've been doing a lot of research, and alhamdulillah, there's a lot of very, very interesting things that I can't wait to share.
Looks like we need to have another hour and a half chat off camera.
We will do for sure. Alhamdulillah, the link is there. If you're not part, it's free, completely free. There's just under 2,000 Muslim entrepreneurs in there, so it's fantastic for networking. So alhamdulillah, thank you for joining us from all parts of the world. I'm not sure what time it is on your side, but good evening, good afternoon, good morning. May Allah bless you, and until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, people.